Personal branding. Is it that there is a lot of compulsion on individuals to build a personal brand using social media? So of course, for the organization what we work, we have our own standing and we have our own brand internally. But there are a lot of compulsion which comes on individuals building their brand, personal brand for the outside world, right? And most of the time, this social media is used as a platform to build this personal brand. And how do we do it? And is it required, or how it adds value to individuals?
I'll say from a, okay, so many of us probably in our generation, for us, our corporate identity is a big part of our self-identity, yeah? May not be for the younger generation, but for us that, yeah? And just speaking from personal experiences, yeah? So in our friend circle, there are people who have stayed with the same organization for many years, grown to C-level positions now, yeah? So great. And there are quite a few who have jumped jobs and whatever. And to each his own, different stories, yeah. If you haven't built a personal brand, yeah, getting the next best opportunity is becoming tougher in today's world. Yeah,
it is.
And also we talk very candidly amongst our friend circle. I mean, I ask this questions. What is the retirement age today? Yeah. Earlier people used to write 58, 60. I really don't think. See, you can be part of big corporate cycles. You can do very well, or something may go wrong with either that corporate or with the leadership change that happens, and suddenly you are out of job. Yeah. And it has happened to many during COVID, and great talents, right, out of job. To get back to again the workforce, yeah. And you're respectable, you're doing extremely well. I think what is happening in today's world is that people are looking at you. I mean, the personal branding is going to lead to the kind of network you have, and therefore probably will help you with opportunities. I just took the example of job here, but it can be any other kind of opportunity. I think it's becoming increasingly important in today's world. It's today's show and tell world.
So tell me, I mean, it's a great question, because for me it's a learning based on what you're saying. What would you mean by a personal brand for a people, as you rightly described, come from a certain mindset? We all come from a certain mindset. We have a professional branding.
Yeah.
We sometimes think we don't need to dilute that brand in certain ways. But then there is this other behavior, which is people are looking for a very personal you. Who are you at a personal level? Any good things that you have seen in the last couple of years which allows mix and match, and what should be done?
So I think I'll borrow from what Shalini, you said. You have to be purposeful. There has to be an outcome in your mind, yeah. And all of us are actually little long-term thinking, right? I mean, not like today's world, but we are like 10 years down the line. We will think like that. Okay, what do I want to be? How do I want to retire? Which board do I want to sit on, right? So we think about outcomes, and I think that is definitely going to define the way you need to build your personal brand. I've seen with colleagues who actually worked on their personal brand parallelly, yeah, because that person wanted to be a CEO, and he started to work on it, and he wanted to be a CEO in a particular kind of company, yeah. And I've seen this beautiful happen right in my own circle. So it's very outcome driven, and I think that we all know, any generation knows that extremely well. So you have your destination, outcome in mind, and that's how you build your personal branding. But it's not an easy task, I would say.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I'm picking up from your last phrase, to each his own, right, or her own. I believe that personal branding is extremely important, because it gives you an opportunity to represent who you actually are. And this is not only true for professional life. I also believe that even in a large society, all of us live in large apartment complexes, and then really for you to be known, not because you want to be famous, just because you want to build that social circle. We are social animals. From that standpoint, it's very, very important. Objective-oriented personal branding, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the way I look at it is, I think your personal branding should, like I said, should represent who you really are. See, what happens is that because of the titles that we hold in our professional circle, we become too buttoned up because we want to stay true to that title. And most of us are victims of that. You want to operate in a certain manner, talk, you want to look like a certain designation that we carry, but then you just switch the context, you go to your house, you speak to your kids, you speak to your driver, you speak to your spouse, you are a different person and you have to accept it. The challenge is how much of that you want to really represent out there on social media or anywhere else, and that's a fine balance. I come from a school of thought where I think that you must represent who you are, because at the end of the day, there should not be anything which you are not so proud of, and there should not be anything that does not represent your personality in totality. So just put yourself out there.
So that also goes with how digital native you are. So for example, one of my colleagues, she is definitely, I would consider her to be the next generation, but she's a good, very strong leader. And as a leader, she spends more time on the Insta, and she's very expressive. She travels to many places, and she's very bold in her expressions, in her commentary and narrative. And you will be surprised, everyone who joins her team becomes her follower, right? And one comment that I heard from them is that, look, she is very different in office. She's a very different leader, and she drives that behavior. Personally, she is what she is. And to your point of that authenticity and the connect, they say, I can be her. Because today I'm here, I can be her.
Exactly.
So which I mean, going back to that relatability, and she's very clear that I would never shy away from expressing myself. The day you think I should not be expressing myself, or there is a bound, I will move to a different organization.
But what you said, that comes from leaders who are very secure internally. Yeah. I mean, so like you said, we most of us are probably thinking of repercussions a lot more than we should be. But yeah, if you're a secure leader, then you will present yourself in totality rather than saying, how should I be perceived with this part which is most important for me compared to the other parts.
Yeah, you bring out such a practical reality, and see, all of us are insecure in some ways depending on where you stand in your life and what are the various commitments you have, right? But really, I think this is a very liberating feeling to have that sense of security and being able to face the repercussions in life. I think it's a journey in itself for most of us.